Welcome everyone to this symposium representing and celebrating the 75th anniversary of the International Relations Department here in the Bell School inside the College for Asia Pacific, inside the ANU. There'll be a test on ANU's institutional structure later. My name is Lawson. I'm head of the International Relations Department. It is a huge honour and privilege to welcome you here this morning. You're going to be hearing a bit more from me momentarily, and then also from Julien, who's director of the Bell School, Helen Sullivan, a dean of the College of Asia Pacific. We were going to be joined by Genevieve Bell, the vice chancellor of the university, but unfortunately her plane hasn't been able to land at Canberra because of the fog. But we will make do, and we will miss her, and she sends her regards, but we'll carry on without her. Before you hear from us, though, we're going to have a welcome to country from Paul Girrawah House, who's a senior community engagement officer with the First Nations portfolio here at ANU. Paul, you're very welcome. Please do come up.
And Mandangu, Wurgawuri, thank you, George, and Naramarang, Jumburuburu Marambang, Maranya Mayin. Good morning, everyone. Yuandu, Paul Girrawah House. My name is Paul Girrawah House. Nadu Maradu Marai Beringo, Gujigango, Ngambri-Ngunnawal, Nurumbango. I was born here at the centre of my ancestral country at the old Canberra Hospital. God bless it. Anyone born in the old Canberra Hospital? Great to see three hospital alumni here this morning with me. Wirai Nyang, Wirai Mayin, no language, no people, Wallawin Mayin, Wallawin Nurumbango. Healthy people, healthy country. Murubango Bala, Winganagu, Yambawan, Bangun Nara Nara. First to know the nature of things. So Yilingalangbu, Gibabango, Wogabu, Migaybu, Duranilbang Mayin. Ladies and gentlemen, young men, young women, distinguished guests, College Dean, Professor Helen Sullivan, everyone, Maranya, everyone, Nyari and Jamali, Ngambri, Cambri, Walgalu, Wallabaloa, Ngunnawal, Ngarigo, Wiradjuri, Mujigang, Yanang Bujayandu, my respects to Ngambri, Cambri, Walgalu, Wallabaloa, Ngunnawal, Ngarigo, Wiradjuri, elders past and present, Nyari and Jamarabu, Mujigango, Nurumbanjigu, Ninya Yiridu, my respects to all people, First Nation people from all parts of the country, Ngambri, Cambri, Walgalu, Wallabaloa, Ngunnawal, Mayin, Gain Banya, Ninyoga, Nurumbangoldara, Ngambri, Cambri, Walgalu, Wallabaloa, Ngunnawal people, welcome you all to country. Noya Goya Malang, Marambang Balang, Nina Nain Mura Buramba, Bira Goyambana, Nina Nurumbango. It's a beautiful thing, a wonderful thing to be able to share this welcome to country with everyone today for this great event, milestone. Yinjamara Bala, Boya Niyang, Nurumbango Bagarigan, Umbay Yukambraki Bay Mullian, Yinjamara Bala, Nama Dr. Matilda Williams House. My respects to my mother, Dr. Matilda Williams House. Because of her I can, and my respects to all the matriarchs in the room here today. Because of our matriarchs we all can on country, respecting language, law, people and country, respecting our creator and protector, Bayami, our key totems, the crow and the eagle on country. Nadu Wurugabigi, Balabambo Gubu, Balagi Bangubu, Goingulila Dumbali Now Murraway Marambo. We listen to the old people, the ancestors, the elders, and they show us the good path, the right path, the straight path. Mara Murru, creating pathways. Murru Warru, on track. Dulagang Murru, straight path. Going Guliala, Bilangali now, Yamamali now, Walla Mali now. Our old people, they nurture us, they guide us, they protect us. Mambawara na Minyagu, Wuragabinya, Wuradarego, Winingalagu, Baligu, looking to see, listening to hear, and learning to understand. Niani Yinjamali Nurabangila Balanin Wallawin Galanga Bangber Yaningingo Niani Mawang Yao Biligagila Yamo Bilgiri Yani Marambu Bagarigan Yaningingo. We look after country so it is healthy for all our children, and we teach and we learn what is right for all on country. Muramugenya Yinjamara Muramuru Widambira Nurambango. Living a respectful way of life cares for country. Yinjamara Widambira Marandogobo Giiragobo Yandogobo. Respect is taking responsibility for the now, the past, the present and the future. Our welcome to country is always made in the spirit of peace and harmony and reconciliation for all people of modern Australia. And our main aim always is to establish an atmosphere of mutual respect through the acknowledgement of our ancestors and the recognition of our rights to declare our special place in the pre and post history of the Canberra region. The name Canberra is derived from the name of our people and country right here, the Ngambri, Canberra. It comes from the word Ngamburu. It means to lie down, to be situated on country. And was gazetted, by the way, on the 22nd of January 1834 under the New South Wales colonial government, actually the British colonial government here on country, Canberra Station, J.J. Moore, it's property. Yinjamara, Yinjamal Gijil, Yinjamarabu, powerful word on country, ideology, way of life. Uradri word, mean to go slow, be patient, be polite, be gentle, take responsibility, uphold. Yinjamara bala wagadai nanu dangawa bumir daganda. Respect will be found in the soles of the feet of our old people dancing on Mother Earth. Goinguliala Yinjamal Gijil, Bala wala mwanga dabu, murmadan dabu, bama yu guru gambiru, bango nara nara, bala bidada bina bina bina, yu willu wurwin nurambango. Respect will be found in the grinding stones and the carved trees made long ago on country. We found in the creeks, in the rivers, in the breeze, quietly moving through country. Going guliala, wing girambanana, nurubalabu, guru gambiru, bango nara nara. Respect will be found in the warmth of the campfire, in this possum skin cloak that shelters all. Diringo in language means importance. Diringo, niawe gunungijil, our identity. Mawang, relationships. Very important. Nina in the focus we take. This or here, Nina. Wayana in the transformation. Being Buruwalan Gijil, being Buruwalan governing and government. Our people who through law and custom hold culture knowledge, and we still continue to maintain deep respect for our ancestral lands and waters. The law of the land talks about Yinjamal Gijil Mayangalangbu Yandu Mayangalangdu, giving respect and honour to all people from all parts of the country, and then people will respect you. Yinjamara Widin Bida Muran Waginya Buradudai, respect everything living and growing. And with respect to all of us, it's contemporary, modern Australians, and as Aboriginal people in this country, our old people never gave this country up. Never ceded sovereignty. Our land was stolen without consent or treaty, and we've never been compensated for these losses in this country. And that is a fact, that is truth, that's part of truth-telling of country. But we continue to talk about acceptance, our gift last year, our 60,000-year gift to this country. And we thank the 6.2 million people who accepted our gift of love, respect, safety, belonging, sacrifice, security, the morals, the values, the caring, the sharing, the nurturing and sheltering. And we continue to give this gift every day of our lives because we are survivors. We're descendants, but we're survivors of our old people. So with that, mara mara, ninya ninya, girma maranya. Respect shapes us, lifts up the people. Mara mara, winenga gigalana mai, and respect creates people who care for each other. So Guayambana, Nina Nurumbango, welcome to country, Mandangu, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul, for that really moving welcome to country, and thank you for the gifts, and thank you for for showing us such respect. I want to add to Paul's welcome to Ngannawal and Ngambri land into our home for 2 days of discussion about some of the central issues facing contemporary world politics, including issues of First Nations sovereignty and rights. As an immigrant to Australia myself, I'm acutely aware of the need for me and the broader IR community to learn from the histories and experiences of First Nations colleagues, and I can't think of a better place to do so. It's from this beautiful campus within this rich, stunning land, sustained and nurtured but not ceded by First Nations peoples for so many thousands of years. Welcome everyone. My deep respects to Ngannawal and Ngambri elders, and many thanks to everyone here for joining us in this celebration of the 75th anniversary of the IR department here at the Bell School. We're thrilled to see you here. I want to actually begin by thanking professional services colleagues for all of their work over the past few months, which has gone above and beyond by some considerable distance what we could have hoped for and expected. Two people in particular, Kian Kumel and Liv Wenholtz. Hello, Liv. Thanks for the picture. Good timing. And Kian, who I can't see. But thank you so much to both of you. I mean, everyone in the professional services, but particularly you two. I think you often know how well people have worked behind the scenes and back of house by the fact that everything is very smooth front of house, and you don't necessarily notice how much work has been done to enable the space that we're in. So thank you very much, Kian. Thank you very much, Liv. Thank you everyone in professional services for all of your work. It has really been fantastic to work with you. Thanks to, thanks also to colleagues in the International Relations Department. Thank you very much for everyone who's organised thematic sessions. Maria Tanyag, Joe McKay, Kirsten Ainley and Sian Troth, Nick Lemay-Bear, Ben Day and Lauren Richardson, our former colleague Greg Fry. Those who've acted, I think it's more by accident in the design, as its kind of central organising committee, particular Cecilia Jacob, thank you very much. And also Kian O'Driscoll and Ben Zala. And thank you to everyone else who's pitched in, including with sometimes considerable amounts of funding for the event, Kian in particular, but also Bina DaCosta and various others, Nick and Cecilia again. And thank you very much to our generous colleagues in the Bell School, Julien, for their support. And thank you to everyone else in the department who's here participating in the event as speakers, as chairs, and generally being around to help host our guests here, including our wonderful cohort of PhD students. Thank you very much for your involvement in the event. It wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you very much, everyone in the department. I love this department, and I love it for two reasons. The first is because it's the warmest, most collectively oriented, most deliberative workplace that I've been in, both inside and outside universities. The last few years haven't been easy. Dating more or less to exactly when I arrived at ANU in February 2020. Fortunately, as we know, correlation isn't causation. I get blamed for the weather, but I'm not getting blamed for everything that's happened, since February 2020. But I think you can tell how robust a culture is by how well it deals with adversity. And I think this department has shown itself in the care, in the warmth, in the energy, and the commitment that it's shown over the last few years, just what a special place it is to work. It makes my job as head of department extremely straightforward, well, mostly straightforward. Extremely is going a bit far, probably. But there's always someone who'll step into a service role. There's always someone who will help when we need someone to fill in with some teaching. There's always someone willing to help out a colleague or a student. And that's not the case in every workplace. The fact that it is the way that things are in the IR department here isn't down to luck, it's down to hard work. It's down to hard work every day that colleagues and students do to generate such a nurturing, caring space. And many thanks to everyone for making this such a warm, collective, deliberative, warm place in which to work. The second reason I love the department is because it's an intellectual powerhouse. I've been teaching for about 20 years now, actually a bit more than 20 years. And I can tell you that this is, I think, without doubt, the scholarship produced in this department is the strongest that I know of. The thing that attracted me to the department most was this combination that the department has between area specialist insights, on Asia, the Pacific and elsewhere, with interest in theoretical debates around some of the most pressing issues of our time, war and revolution, order and crisis, atrocity prevention, and issues around refugees and migrants, the women peace agenda, women peace security agenda, and much more. And I think you can see the quality and depth and engagement that people in the department have through the publications that we produce, in the grants that colleagues secure, in the teaching that we do, and I do think teaching is scholarly activity, and the ways in which colleagues share and translate their scholarship into engagement with policy practice audiences, with civil society groups, with international organizations, and more. So once again, many thanks in the department for their contributions to making this such a stimulating, exciting place to work. So taken together, this combination of scholarly excellence and supportive culture makes our department here, I think, a fantastic place to be part of, an extremely unusual, rich environment in which to work. Now, ANU being the Byzantine institution it is on a good day, and remember that test is coming up, we're not the only place at the university where work on and in international relations is done. Now, I hope I can say this without being run out of town, because I really do like it here. But we do see ourselves as a central node, the central node, in which debates about international relations take place at the university. Okay, that seems to have gone down okay. But how we see that role as convening, I think, is what we'd like to think about over the next couple of days. We're trying to convene a space in which colleagues who work on and in international relations from the university, from Canberra, from Australia, from the region and further afield, are extended an invitation in which to debate and discuss the really pressing issues facing us all, to meet here and debate in the same kind of spirit of generosity and warmth and respect that Paul introduced into our conversations, but also with that real intellectual stimulation that I think the department is so immersed within and stands for, about international relations, where we're at, and its understandings or not of the many challenges facing us. Do we need a different international relations? Well, one or two colleagues suggested I take a stab, actually Kian suggested I take a stab at answering that question, but I'm out of time. Which is a shame. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, probably. I think that's what we're going to find out over the next couple of days. If I wanted to be really kind of facetious and properly academic, I'd say, well, it depends how you define international relations, and it depends how you define different. So on that helpful note, I'd simply say I'm very much looking forward to finding out whether we do need a different IR from our wonderful speakers and participants we've assembled here, for which, again, many thank you for coming. Our first substantive session is going to be on crisis, led by my colleague Maria Tanyag. But before we get into that, we're going to hear from Julien Barbara, Director of the Bell School, and Helen Sullivan, Dean of the College of Asia and Pacific. So Julien, over to you.
Thanks, everyone. I'll be taking applications for the next head of department just shortly after this session. Look, it's a great honour and a privilege to be here. I'd like to start by echoing the welcome sentiments. I'd certainly like to acknowledge and celebrate the First Nations peoples on whose lands that we are meeting today, the Ngunnawal and Ngambri, and to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Look, it's a great privilege to be here as head of the school. I'll keep my comments really quickly. The school itself is named after Coral Bell, one of Australia's foremost and a world-famous scholar of international relations, which I think speaks volumes to the centrality of who we are as a school. Much of Coral Bell's work on war and peace, on alliances, on great power politics, you name it, has been central to the study of international relations, but also to our work here at ANU over many generations. The school was established, or the department was established in 1949 as part of the Research School of Pacific Studies, and has grown into certainly a leading centre of scholarship on international relations in Australia and indeed the world. And it's really fundamental to what we do here. ANU, and the Bell School in particular, is a national institution. ANU is a national university. And part of being a national university is about having a vocation of engagement and having a responsibility for dealing with really important substantive issues. In our case, it's about dealing with our region, the Asia and the Pacific regions, and engaging with the world. I think that's a really fundamental part of ANU's role, and it's certainly central and the defining element of us as a school. IR's work is really central. You have the privilege today, for those that are not from ANU, of meeting and mixing with an amazing group of scholars dealing with a really important range of issues, ranging from atrocities, refugees, international relations, the politics of Asia and the Pacific, ethics of war, artificial intelligence, you name it. Really fundamental issues. There's never been a more important time that we are engaging with these issues, and it's really important that ANU is at the forefront of many of those conversations. So I'd like to applaud the work that's been done over many decades here in the school and in the department, and look forward to seeing where it goes and continuing that conversation. The last thing that I'd really like to note, and the really important thing, I think, is the education component. 75 years is a lot of teaching, it's a lot of education, and I think one of our biggest contributions as a school, as a department, as a university, is in the role we play in equipping the next generation of leaders with the skills to make a contribution. IR's contribution to supporting the development of an amazing generations of scholars, of policymakers, of leaders that, thanks in part to the studies and the experience they've had here, have become principled and forward-looking leaders is really important. And that's not just in terms of undergraduate. I think a really big part of what we do, certainly in the school, is about the students that we welcome and learn from the region. When you walk around the halls here, we have the most amazing cohort of students from the Pacific, from Asia, from around the world. And I think we can be really proud of the contribution we've made there. So I'd like to end there and just to say thank you to your colleagues, to acknowledge the work you've done, to acknowledge the legacy of 75 years of work, which I think is incredible, and to look forward to the conversations that we have going forward.
One of the great joys of working in what George described as a Byzantine university is that you have an endless stream of people welcoming you. So there's a couple of ways of looking at Genevieve's absence. One is it's one fewer person, and the other one is that you're stuck with me rather than her. But anyway, I'm delighted to be here. My name is Helen Sullivan. I am the Dean of the College of Asia and the Pacific, and it is my very, very great privilege and honour to be here welcoming all of you, some colleagues, friends, people from the school, the college, the university, and indeed beyond. This is a fabulous, fabulous occasion, and it's really important that we take a moment to think about what this means. 75 years of this extraordinary department. It is quite remarkable. I too would like to thank Paul Girrawah, who is such a strong member of our community. I mean, he's based at the First Nations portfolio in the university, but he spends most of his time with us in the college, and we are so grateful for his continued generosity and his continued education of us as people who really need to learn and understand what it means to offer a gift and to have that refused. So with that, I would like to thank Paul, but also offer my acknowledgement that we meet on unceded country, the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and pay my respects to any First Nations people who are with us today. Now, I'm going to be two people, as I say. I'm also conscious that you have a very big agenda and that you want to get into it. So if you will forgive me, I will truncate my remarks to some of the things that I think the Vice-Chancellor might have wanted to say, which this is a bit tricky for her because she doesn't know what I'm going to say. It was a funding announcement, yeah. I don't think you want to be looking forward to any of those, George. But I do want to say a couple of words about the college. And, while we do laugh about, the fact that we are, units within units within units, there is something extremely special about this college. The College of Asia and the Pacific is part of the foundation of this institution, as is the Department of International Relations. We are a unique collection of scholars, academics, practitioners, teachers, policy advocates, civil society specialists, and indeed agitators. And we are the only one of our kind in the world. And I really want you to sit with that. What we do in this college, the College of Asia and the Pacific, is we house and are a community of people who, whether they study public policy, regulation, area studies, politics, international relations, economics. I'm obliged to mention economics every time I talk about the college. It's in my contract. Whatever it is that we do, we are the best and the only one of our kind in the world. And that is not something that I say lightly. These are things that are demonstrated both in the reputation of the people who work here, but also the extraordinary collegial environment that we work so hard to promote and protect, and George referred to. We see our role in this college as being people who are constantly thinking about and questioning the boundaries of our disciplines. Do we need to work towards a different international relations? These are the kinds of questions we ask ourselves all the time. And what does it mean to be an IR scholar? I'm looking at Wes over there, who's an IPE scholar, who could sit in this department, but also could fit really well in the School of Regulation and Global Governance, and indeed works across both. I could name numerous people, Bina, many others, who do the same. And that is really, really important to us, because what it means is we are constantly challenging our assumptions and our ways of thinking about the world. But we do so, as George was saying, on the basis that we hold a number of things really dear. One, that we are scholarly rigorous, that we are constantly asking questions, that we do not consider the act of offering policy advice to be something that is superficial and thoughtless. Our expertise and the fact that government relies on us so heavily, perhaps we'd like it to rely on us a bit more heavily, but the fact that they do so because of our tradition of excellence, and the fact that we don't give them easy answers, the fact that we pose more difficult questions and help them think through some of those questions. And that's really important for us. The other dimension that's really, really important is the focus on the region, the area, the community. We are scholars and teachers in and of this region, and that is incredibly important to us. And those two things, and both the tension but also the confluence of those two things, makes this college an incredibly important place to be. And as I said, the IR department is central to that. And you've heard, and one of the things I know the Vice-Chancellor would say if she was here, and indeed our previous Vice-Chancellor would have said, is that, 75 years ago, 1946 now, this university was established, in a period of social reconstruction, and we were the institution, which we remain the only national university that is focused on how you think about anticipating and responding to the challenges. And goodness me, do we face some challenges now. And again, one of the extraordinary things about Coral Bell was not just her ability to analyse the present, but to also anticipate some of the extraordinary things that we would be needing to grapple with. And that is the challenge for this college, this university, and this department now. How do we engage with and think through the extraordinary challenges of our time? And it's important for me to say, I think, a couple of things about the current environment. Higher education is never anybody's favourite topic when it comes to electoral politics. We don't win anybody any votes. And so we are, at best, the best often we can hope from governments is that they are indifferent to us. It's very unfortunate when they turn out to be actively hostile. George and Julien have referenced our extraordinary international community. This college hosts the most diverse student group. It also hosts the most diverse staff group. And it does so because we are a place of excellence, and we are a place of diversity, and we are a place where we constantly challenge assumptions, whether they're Eurocentric assumptions or any other kinds of assumptions. And that's incredibly important to us, not because it generates income, but because it generates new knowledge, it builds relationships, it demands that people think about the world and see the world from other people's points of view. And as a result, it enables us to work more productively, to develop better scholarship, to deliver better teaching, and to support, and this is a kind of lingua franca of our time, to support better future leaders. We do that. We have always done that. And we do it because diversity is our strength. And it is extraordinary, and unfortunate is such an understatement, that commitment that we have, that we live, that we express, is now being used in a way to engage in a political debate. I think that is extraordinary and something that we, as a college, are the living expression of why that is wrong in all sorts of ways. And so I really, really congratulate the department for hanging on for 75 years. It was only named after Coral Bell, I think, in 2014. Was that right, Tony? 15? So we finally worked out that it might be a good idea to name something after a woman in 2015. So well done, the IR department. But in the life of this department, the department has had to reckon with some of these challenges. Why is it that, IR was deemed to be something that women didn't do until extraordinary people like Coral Bell came along? We wouldn't think about that now. Look at the extraordinary women in this audience: Bina, Tony, Amy, many, many others. This is a department that the stars of this department, they're women. Yeah, you got some good blokes, but but and these are things we now take for granted, but they have been hard won. And so, part of the demand for us as a department, as a school, as a college in this institution is to continue to reckon with where there is marginalisation, where there are voices that are not heard that should be heard, and what it is that they can bring to our conversations and our scholarship that will inevitably improve them. This department has done remarkable work in that area. It continues to do remarkable work in relation to the challenges that we face, the possibilities and the limitations of new things like AI. This department is at the forefront of some of those conversations, and many, many others, migration being one, but there are many, many others. But we need you to keep doing that work. And we also need you to keep reminding people, our community, the Canberra community, just of the inherent value of higher education, of searching out new knowledge, and of working with people who don't look like you, who don't have your experience, not because they bring revenue into the institution, but because what they offer is of value in terms of scholarship and in terms of us living in a sustainable, peaceful and prosperous world. Now, I have no idea how much of that, if any, the Vice-Chancellor would have said, but I hope that it gives you some indication of just how, one thing that is absolutely clear is that this college, this school, this department is recognised as a hugely valuable asset. And while we are heading into very, very difficult times, there is no question that what we do is understood to be unique, to be excellent. And much of that is to do with the extraordinary work of our scholars. But I would just like to end by echoing where George started, which is that, again, one of the things we do particularly well in this college is we create an environment where professional staff can use their expertise in ways that is mostly, I think, enriching for them, but also where they are considered as equal partners. And it is vital that we both not only acknowledge the extraordinary work that they do, but recognise that we as scholars, as leaders, as managers, as supervisors, get to do what we do because we have such extraordinary professional staff who are doing all of the other things that make our lives bearable and productive. So congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful couple of days. I know that you have an extraordinary keynote speaker, Professor Nita Crawford, the Montague Burton Professor of International Relations at the University of Oxford, as your keynote speaker. That's fantastic, but I know there are many, many other conversations to go on before you get to that. So welcome, those of you who need to be welcomed, and have a wonderful, wonderful celebration of this fine department. And yeah, I expect to have a memo about what a different international relations is going to look like, George. Thank you all.